welcome in our guest tonight, Javier Castellano, of course, four-time Eclipse Award winner and Hall of Famer. Javier, how are you doing?
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for asking. I'm doing really well. Thank God. Very lucky fortune. Be survivor to the COVID-19 is all over the world. And unfortunately, I had it, but I had it the good way. Let's put it that way. I
Yeah.
didn't have any symptom. I'm doing really well.
And I know right now, you're a little bit removed, obviously, from the time at which you first tested positive, but you've had a little bit of a crazy time over the past month. Aside from that, you're actually down in Florida right now, not home where you were. Explain to me where you are exactly and why you're there at this moment.
It's kind of crazy, a little bit crazy where we live right now. We have to deal with it. We have to adjustment every single time, every single day. A lot of rule we have to follow it, a lot of protocol we have to follow it, and you can see it everywhere. I think, unfortunately, we don't have too many restaurants open, but we have to follow the protocol. I think, unfortunately, when, let's put it that way, 1 month ago, I've been diagnosed COVID-19, March 24. I did my quarantine
Where we
here
live
for
right now,
2 weeks, and then I was clear. I went to the Florida Health Department, and they did two tests, and they rechecked those two tests. Those two tests came negative, and they give me okay to go back to New York to see my family. But then when I was in New York, I get the news I'm able to ride in Arkansas, the Arkansas Derby weekend. That's the fantasy state for Bridget, my Philip for Braca. Just gonna run the Friday,
Mm-hmm.
the first, and May the second, of course, is the Arkansas Derby. But there you have to need your jockey or horses or training to get to to perform over there. You need to qualify those protocols because basically we are in the hotspot, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Louisiana. Those people that come from those places, you have to be quarantined in anywhere, any place before you get there. Unfortunately, I had to coming here to Florida, and Johnny Velasquez and myself, yesterday we took a flight out of the New York, stay here for 2 weeks, and then we able to go to riding Arkansas Derby weekend.
Okay, so I'm glad that you had company with you. At least you had Johnny with you for the flight. Did he fall asleep? Was he snoring on the flight or no?
He did. Yes, he did. I heard when he said that. He can lie to me.
So, to summarize what you've been through, I mean, you essentially had to go into quarantine for 2 weeks just to get past, obviously, the virus period where you don't want to infect your family, your wife, or your kids. And then once that's over, you're now in a second quarantine where you're having to do it in a safe that's not a place that's not a hot zone. So you've gone down to Florida with the goal being you riding an Arkansas Derby weekend. A wild couple of weeks. Let me just ask you, just go back to the beginning. How was the process? How did you find out that you actually, how did you come to take a test? And what was your reaction when you found out that you were positive? Because as I understand, you didn't have any symptoms, right?
Correct. I didn't have any symptoms at all. And unfortunately, the um I was in New York because we are in New York. Jockey come from New York. They want to test because we are come from out of the town. And couple jockey they went to Florida, third ground for the Louisiana Derby,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to test it. And unfortunately, they come out. Then when I took a test, that's the only way you can find out if you pass or not. And unfortunately, I did. I mean, I didn't. My first reaction, I was shocked. I didn't realize it, and I didn't have any symptom at all. And I was jogging 3 miles the day before, and I still jogging. I mean, basically I didn't have any symptom. I just lucky to be in that where I am right now.
Interesting. So it came as a shock to you because you didn't have any symptoms while you were going through the period of having it in you and waiting the 2 weeks. Still there? All right. Did you feel I mean, did you have a cough or anything during that the period while you were waiting it out? I mean, did you feel fatigue or ache or anything, or nothing at all? Did you lose the audio? Oh, we may have lost the audio. Let me try this again. Hold on. You got the audio back. You hear me now? Hello? Do you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So we have to switch it up. All right. Now I got it. I was just asking you. You said that it was a shock to you when you did find out that you were positive and you went into quarantine and you were on your own. At any point during that period, did you have any achiness or tired or fatigue, or were you nothing at all?
The only I think just to pay attention more, I gotta have something, and I was a little throat hurt a little bit. I
Hmm.
said, man, I have the 1 2 day sore throat, but that's it. And after that, I didn't have a. Well, the one day I have a headache, but I think when they tested, those tests that you go all the way through the nose, and I think it pinch your heart, and I think that's it got me.
Oh, wow.
That's the only that's the only thing I can see. It was through my head.
Okay.
But after that, I feel fine. I was really good. And the reason I take the test because costume party take the protocol. Jockeys come from out of town, especially us. We come from hotspot.
Hmm.
We have to take the test,
Yeah.
and I give it credit to that because I wouldn't find out. Would it be right? I would it be regular life? I wouldn't have anything. That's the reason. That's the scary part about this fight because you don't know who has it or how you can get it or where you come from. Because if you ask me, I have no clue. I was in New York for 1 week in my house. I didn't go anywhere. I stay home, and I don't know. And more, I think, more go crazy because you don't know who was the person I was next to, and I had it.
Right. Right.
And that's the best example for me too. I never have a symptom, but I can go anywhere and I can transport for somebody else.
Hmm. Very interesting. So we do have a lot of questions that fans have sent in. Mostly it's about your career, and they're happy to say, a lot of them, that they're just happy that you're doing well and feeling better. Before we get to the questions, I do want to ask you, because I know I follow you on Twitter and I see you post a lot of things. You posted a lot about around Easter. I know you're a very religious person. Just how did your faith help you through this process? Not only with the fear of the actual virus itself, but the distance from your family and all the things that add extra stress to your life.
Of course, don't get me wrong. I can describe everything, but it wasn't that easy when you find out. You had to go through this time. The first thing, it was more emotional, anything else, and mentally, I think it was scary. Don't get me wrong. I faced tough time in my life. I'll be honest with you. I think um, I, I don't know if I'm gonna die. I don't know what's gonna happen to me. Then every single night I ask the same question. What's gonna happen to me tonight? Because the doctor he spoke to very clear. You don't have anything so far, but you can get it later on. And you gotta be prepared. You gotta be call 911. He tell you come out positive COVID-19. If you start breathing, you can breathe. All those kind of things you gotta go through. Especially, we close, my family, we tie. And I'm here in Florida. I live with my mom in the same house. And my mom, she's 64. And I was kind of scary for her, go through this. And I told my mom I had to leave. I had to go different place. But you know how the mother they are. You gotta go through. We sit together and we faking. We have a lot of faith, and God's gonna protect you, my son. We gotta go through today. If we die, we die together. No, please don't say that.
Right. Don't say that exactly.
The mother, you know how they are. They fight for you, and she did. She went through, and believe me, a lot of support. My wife, my kids, every single night, and think about them. How they do it. Abby, my wife, she's tricky by herself in New York in 2 weeks. And, she needs some help. And it's hard to do it, and I'm not there to help him out. And she worry about me mentally, what's going to happen next. And those three to go through emotion. It was a big challenge. One of the biggest challenges I faced in my life.
Mm. And I'm sure, all the parents out there that are listening to you can relate to what you're saying about, kind of having your wife with the kids and you can't come in contact with them. That's a very difficult thing. So seriously, credit to you and for always keeping a positive attitude. We know when you're riding, you always have a positive attitude too. So we give you a lot of credit for that. We do have a couple of comments and questions. I mentioned there's a gentleman named Augustin on Twitter who says, thank God that everything went well for you. And he says, we know given all of your achievements though, the question is, thinking about racing, what are some of the goals that you have this year, knowing the current situation and knowing how much uncertainty there is about racing for the rest of the year? What are some of the goals and how do you look at the rest of 2020?
Well, it's a tough question because we don't know. We face every single day different thing, and he worried, worried the situation, how far we can go this, and of course, you can see the news lately. We have a lot of news, good positive news, and now what about the industry of racing? I think we looking for, I think maybe no attendance for the
Right.
horses. I mean, that that could be surviving, but the beauty about this, we need the fans. They root for us. This is about horse racing. You want to see 1,000 people root for you, and 1,000 people root for every single horses. We have big field and everybody root for. We miss those. We miss the Kentucky Derby. We miss all the big races. I mean, those kind of challenges you have to go through in your life, and hopefully we can little by little, everybody putting something together and we get to go through. I mean, we're looking for Saratoga, summertime, the best time ever. I don't know if it was gonna have no fence at all, or maybe we're not gonna have a race in Saratoga. Those kind of couple questions you ask yourself every single day, but it's hard to think about it. You have to go through every single day. Hopefully, and you know,
Yeah.
we go through,
Yeah.
and we will. We will. We are really strong. Have a lot of positive. I think we got to go through this a little bit short time, but in the long term, it's gonna be okay.
Mm. Have you been talking to other jockeys or trainers or anybody within racing saying, hey, what do you think is going to happen? Are people all giving you different kinds of guesses about how it's going to work out for Saratoga for the rest of the year and all the rest of it?
We are in the same boat. Then I'll be honest with you. We ask the same question every single each other. We don't have the answer. We ask the question, but we don't know the answer yet. I think we have to go little by little, and even the president of the United States, he don't have the answer. I think those kind of things you have to pray, and hopefully everything work out for some reason. We learn every single one through this moment, and try to take something out of this situation.
Yep. All right, well, let's jump into happier stuff. You were talking about the fans and wanting to race in front of the fans. Like I said, the fans have sent in a lot of questions, and they wanted to know a lot of different things about you. The first thing we did is we asked the fans. We started with the Breeders' Cup. We said, look, all of Javier's great rides in the Breeders' Cup. You have Ghost Zapper, you have Day at the Spa, Limas Map, Rushing Fall, City of Light, British, as many as you want. All the big Breeders' Cup winners. What's your favorite Breeders' Cup winner? Do you know which one the fans picked as their favorite horse that you ever rode in the Breeders' Cup?
First of all, I don't want to hurt any feelings.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't want to pick a one because you put me like my tricky. Which one is the good one? I don't know. They all good one. Believe me, they all have something special.
All right.
Every single race, especially the Breeders' Cup is competitive game. You hook up with the best jockeys, the best trainer, the best horses all over the world. I mean, it's not only United States. A lot of people that came from Europe, and you have to hook up with them. Different style, different mentality. You gotta put everything together to be successful those 2 special days of the year. And how do you do that? I mean, you gotta be focused and be prepared mentally and physically, but always have something special. The question you asked me about the horse, I would say always say go Sapper. The reason I say that because it was my first Breeders' Cup ever, and it was Breeders' Cup Classic, and I was the little kid come from nowhere, and you had to compete with the best jockey in the country, the best train in the country, and the best horses, the British Classic, the best of the best. And I need to. This is my opportunity to step up the ladder. Okay, Javier, I've been winning a lot of races. I've been winning a lot of leading jockey in Florida and Aqueduct me to. And I mean, but I wasn't there yet, and I need to step up the ladder. And that was my big opportunity in my life. I jumped at the bus and I enjoyed the ride, and very lucky, fortunate to bring it home.
All right, well, you guessed the right one. That's the one the fans love. They wanted to see us play. So I'm going to put a little bit of the race up for you. We've got it here, and we'll watch. We'll try to let you react to it a little bit. I'll get it on. We'll see. Back to the 2004 Breeders' Cup here with Go Sapper. We may have lost the audio at some point. Are we still there? All right, I think we may have lost the audio there for a moment. Hopefully we haven't lost Javier entirely. We'll give him a moment to jump back on. Sorry for some of those technical issues. We wanted to show some video with this stream as well, but as you can imagine, with this new technology that we're all getting used to, there's sometimes video that drops out and a number of other things. But hopefully you caught enough of that. That Go Sapper win, by the way, in the 2004 Classic obviously propelled Javier to the kind of stardom that we've come to expect from him. That was his first. He's had many more since. And of course, it was just a few years after that he would win the Preakness with Bernardini, the first of his 2 Preakness wins. Of course, he won a couple of years ago with Cloud Computing as well. It's been an incredible career. We do have a few more questions for Javier, so hopefully the video returns here in a moment, and we can get him back on the feed. So we'll wait out Javier for a few more moments. Again, apologize for some of these technical issues, and when he does jump back on, we'll hopefully be able to ask him some of the questions that you've had. So, interestingly, of all the votes that people sent in for their favorite Breeders' Cup race, the Go Sapper race was way up there. But the one that was people's second favorite was City of Light. They really enjoyed his win a couple of years ago in the Dirt Mile aboard City of Light. And let's see, I think we've got Javier back now. Javier, okay. All right.
I'm here.
All right. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I tried showing the video and then everything crashed on me. So I think we got. Could you hear it? Could you listen to it when I was playing it?
No.
You couldn't hear it?
At some point, it was blocked.
Okay, interesting. So after the race, you were interviewed by Donna Brothers, and you talked about your father. I just want to ask you about that, just the significance of that, the relationship with your father, and what you were feeling at that moment.
Well, I mean, very sentimental. My dad was a jockey for 25 years. We grew up in horse racing. My uncle was a jockey for my mom's side. My dad was my hero. When I was a little kid, I was a 5-year-old. I want to be like my dad. I want to be like that. And unfortunately, in 2000, my dad he passed away. 4 years later, I ended up to win the British Classic, one of the biggest races in the United States by then, and one of the biggest races in my career. And it was the first one. I think I dedicated that race after that race to my dad, and and thank God for the opportunity, and thank you to my memory for my dad.
Very nice. Yeah, and you've had obviously many more since. I was just mentioning, that happened in '04. Then a few years later, you had, your Preakness win with Bernardini. Of course, that day, I mean, a lot of people remember it for Barbaro, of course. I wonder for you emotionally what that was like. You won your first Triple Crown race, but then you also had, publicly, I'm sure you felt like you probably couldn't be completely happy about it because you knew what the public reaction was and how sad it was about Barbaro.
Yeah, then it was a roller coaster. Um, it was emotional. You don't know. I don't know how to react. I want to celebrate. And the race and my to be Barbaro. We break at the gate. I was in fully possession, close to the pace. I don't know what happened. I tried to ride a smart race um, through the half a mile and the 3/8, but at the same time can move forward to position to win the race.
Mm.
And but I'm always in my mind, where's Barbaro? Where's Barbaro? Where's Barbaro? One of the bigger horses in the field is the favorite, but never see by Barbaro. And in the quarter pole, I asked my horse to respond, and he responded so well. He took off and I ended up to win the race. But then when I soon just pass the wire, I see the horse on the side. I said, what's going on here? It, first reaction, two emotions at the same time. I won the race, won my first Triple Crown race, but at the same time, Barbaro ended up. What happened? All those questions. Where it will happen the moment that Barbaro was there, but didn't realize it when you break out of the gate. The horse is brought down in Edgar Prado. He did such a great job to take the horse and to pull him up. But in that moment, nobody saw that. And the jockeys, because we break and we move forward, I didn't see that. And unfortunately, and then I couldn't celebrate because a lot of people said situation, but a small group of they connected with the horse. They happy the horse to win the race, the training, the owner, and everybody involved. It was tough time.
Mm. Obviously you went on that year to win the Travers as well with Bernardini. For people who don't know, you've won the Travers more than anybody. You've won it 6 times. Does any one of those races stand out to you as being, especially significant? Was it the first? Was it, anyone along the way?
They all emotion because the one of the best races at the summertime. All the best 3-year-old they come from the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. All those three-year-old horses ended up at the Triple Crown race. They ended up in the same spot. This is summertime Saratoga.
Oh, there goes the video again. So we are navigating our way through this. But it looks like our video dropped out again. So hopefully we'll get Javi back on again momentarily. But very interesting insights there about specifically the Preakness, the 2006 Preakness. When we think about it, I mean, we always think about Barbaro. In fact, if you ask most racing people who won the Preakness in 2006, they may not even be able to tell you. They're like, oh, I was so caught up in the Barbaro thing, and the fact that he got hurt and really everything that ensued and all the emotion around it. It's interesting to hear Javier say that really couldn't celebrate. That was not a day to celebrate. It was a very difficult time for racing as a whole and for fans. And so obviously you can imagine the situation he's in, that he's reached this high in his career, and difficult to celebrate in that moment. About to add Javier back into the stream again. Okay, we got you again. If you could you turn the camera just slightly so you got it? All right, so we got you covered most of your Travers, your take on the Travers victories. I just want to make sure I get in some questions because we're having obviously technical issues, and I feel bad cutting out here on you repeatedly. Let's go with this one, which is kind of the complete opposite. Craig on Twitter asked, what was your toughest loss on the track? Which loss do you remember as being the loss that hurt the most in your career?
I think about my stay. I ended up
Yeah.
3 Belmont. I mean, I live in New York. I've been racing in New York for, I don't know, the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
In 2001 to move to New York. And one of the bigger races, the Belmont State, and local ride in New York. and ride all year round there. My house, my neighbor, when you just gonna win the Balmer State? When you just gonna win the Balmer State? They asked me one day, and it got beat twice, three times like that, and it's very painful. I wrote commission. He beat me right in the wire tonally,
Mhm.
and it was a tough time. And the other one is it was
The Destin
uh, Destin. I got beat for the Steel Music Horse, the Great Horse IRT
creator.
horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, created, and
Sorry to bring
that's
back all these bad memories, by the way. I apologize.
Jesus.
They asked me, so I'm just asking you what they asked me to ask you.
I didn't answer you the first question. You asked me one the six. I believe it was the travel to win American Faro.
Okay.
That's one is a special moment.
Mhm.
And they all six, believe me, they all six travel. One.
Hmm. Not sure what is happening with this video stream. We got bugs in it, obviously. We're having all sorts of dropouts here. Unfortunately, obviously enjoying the few moments that we get when Javier is on live, but unfortunately, we keep losing the video. So apologies for that. When he comes back, we'll try to ask him one or two more questions, and then we'll let him go for the night because he's obviously been a gentleman and a good sport hanging in with us. As we've navigated some of these technical issues tonight. So let's see. All right. We can have you back on in a second. All right. That
Yes.
time you could have told me you hung up because you didn't like the question. So you could tell
No,
me.
it's not true.
Well, apologies for that. Let me get in a few more questions from the fans because I know with the issues that we're having, we'll try to cut this short here pretty soon. Um, Jimmy on Instagram asks an interesting question. He says, "How smart are the horses you ride? And can you tell if a horse is smart or not just by riding him?"
They are. They are. They're wonderful animal. They're very smart, and you have to treat it like very patient, and you have to deal with it. It's like your kid. Everybody has some attitude. Some Everybody has different thing. The way he move, the way he feel, the way he act, and you have to be. It's like a doctor. You you and you in the hospital. You see a lot of patients come for you. You can treat every patient the same way. Everybody patient has something symptom. Everybody patient has a different way to think. Everybody's different. I think the horses they are. You can treat the same way. Some horses they have huge ability, great skill. Some horses they faster, quicker, early. Some horses they lead slowly in the beginning, but they were wonderful power, so strong. They're all different, but they're really smart horses.
Speaking of what you just said right there, Dennis on Twitter asks if you had to choose one kind of horse to ride, a speed horse front end, or a stalker sitting off the pace, or a closer, what's your favorite style of horse to ride?
Whatever the horse, he put me first to the wire.
We'll get to the winner's circle, right?
Yeah, I mean, I try to. I don't want to have a one dimension. I like to try to adjust my every single horses, and I'm maybe I would say stocky a little bit. I think that's my definition. I like to put the horse in good spot and early in the race, and be dictate the race and being good close to the pace and do the right way and try to not give it too much excuses to the horse to get beat. Try to be in the right place in the right time to bring it home.
All right. So when you see Javier sitting off the pace, stalking, he's just where he wants to be. So you know that now moving forward. Question from Shane on Twitter. He says, obviously being a jockey requires a lot of leg stamina. Do you do leg workouts, or how do you get the strength to your legs? Is it just from riding, or do you do additional workouts on your legs?
I try to balance a little bit. Everything when I ride too many horses in the summer, I try to be lightweight. I don't try to do it too much because we ride in the morning a lot of horses. We get on horses and we breeze a lot of horses, two, three horses, four horses in the morning. And then you have to ride 10, 11 horses in the afternoon. But then you pass out basically. You overtire and you have to refresh your body mentally and try to take a nap and try to recover my body before he go perform. But days it goes not too many horses in the afternoon and try to be like light joggy, try to stretch, try to like work out. Because the reason I say that, jockey they can get weight, and the more you start go to the gym and start do exercise and try to do it, you gain weight and you gain muscle, and also muscle is hard to lose because after that you get the weight and then hard to get it down. You have to be very careful. You have to balance your body.
I can imagine. With me, I don't have to worry about any of it, obviously, and it's there's no muscle, so I don't have to worry about the balance at all. You guys are incredible athletes, and I give you credit. And speaking of jockeys and how how talented they are, John on Twitter asks an interesting question. He says, "How do you rate the New York jockeys today compared to 10 years ago?" You don't have to. Oh, there we go. We lost him again. That was a good question too. I was excited to get to that one. We'll ask Javier when he jumps back on. The question is really, how does he rate the New York jockey colony today as opposed to 10 years ago? And does he feel like it's deeper now? Are there, it's easier to get along? I would imagine, given his credentials, Javier, obviously still gets preference on a lot of mounts, but still would be interested in his take on the other jockeys. So yeah, the question is comparing now to 10 years ago, the jockeys that you're riding with in New York. Is it tougher? Is it have you figured it out? What do you think?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Every single jockey they has some ability, and the reason where we are in that level where we are because they have some skill, and you have to be competitive. But very lucky, I'll be honest with you, and fortunate because when I started ride horses, I ended up with a tough colony. I was right with Cherry Bailey,
Yeah.
Pat Day, Maya Smith, John Velasquez, Edgar Prado, Jorge Chavez, Shane Sedley, Richie McGlory, and Michael McCarthy from Delaware, who was a leading jockey later. Early fight, one the tough guy I ever see. It was old, but that guy, he can ride.
Really fire.
And a lot of tough, Joe Bravo, it dictate New Jersey. They call Joe Bravo. And I mean, Joe Bravo, he had all the business in New Jersey. Every single jockey had different, and they're really strong. They're very powerful. John Velasquez always beat John Velasquez, tough rider. I mean, a lot of competition. And by then, we have a call there. We have a Abar Coy, was a leading jockey. And if we count myself, we have in the stand there like 14, 50 jockey, Julie Cron, and those jockey, when you count the 4, 15 jockey, and then I ended on myself. I said, how can I be competitive here? I
Yeah.
think I'm out of the group. Are learning through my process. I watch a lot of races. I've been talking with them and try to write every single race and learning. And that's what I learned. I think he pay off. And then I adjust me and my style and I put in practice the next 10 years in my career. He pay off. That's the reason he come from the four Eclipse Award.
Mm. All right, well, I think we got the answer there from Javier. The next question is actually a really good one. I had a bunch of people on Twitter reach out to me saying that if I asked him the following question, oh, good, that was quick. Now you're back.
I know how to fix it now.
All right, yeah, I don't know what's happening, why it keeps dropping out, but it's interesting. You're talking about the competition with the other jockeys. I had a bunch of guys tell me on Twitter they would make a donation to PDJF if I asked you in the 2006 Bowling Green, you were on Flintshire. You flew by Gran Tito and you look back. It looked like you said something to Jose. Tell us what happened there.
I didn't say anything. I just take a look, and I mean, it's a game. It's competitive game. All those 3, 4 horses are going against my horse, and they try to lock me. But I wrote so much pressure. I wrote to know I know I'm the winner. No matter what they do, I'm the winner because you can see the pace. It was very, very slow pace for the long distance.
Yeah.
And those horses, they should have won. The horses won too and did it because I knew I had the best horse and I rode like I had the best horse. And I think it's one of the best horses on the turf I ever rode in my life. Flintshire was so powerful horse. Every time I ride the horse, I enjoy to ride because this style, I took my time. No matter what he does, you always is gonna be there.
All right. So you're saying you didn't say anything to him.
No, I did not.
Did you want to say something to him?
I would like to, but I can't.
All right, a couple of questions here, quick ones. Karen is asking, is there a long shot horse that you remember that stands out, a long shot that you won on that makes you happy?
King Eyes.
Be nice, all right?
It
That's
was the long shot in the race,
mhm.
and to be American Faro when the triple crown winner, he hard because you go against the one the best horses in the country. He never we
Oof, we are just gonna get that story and it dropped out. But he's now figured out how to get back on really quickly, so he'll be on any moment now. I'll tell you what, Javier, you are an absolute saint. Thank you for being a good sport and jumping back on every 2 minutes. So tell us, Keen Ice, that victory, going past American Pharaoh, what did that feel like?
to fake win the best horse and we've been waiting for how long 30 years more than 35 years to
Mhm.
beat that horse to win the triple crown. He did it, and to beat that horse you gotta be really smart. You gotta be everything the right way to win the horse, and very lucky fortunate to bring him up and beat the horse. And I think it was a great satisfaction, and it was a great moment because it was a long shot the race.
All right. Javier, there are more questions, but with the technical issues, I'm going to let you go tonight. You have been so wonderful to be patient with us and hop back on time after time. We are so happy that you're doing well and you're feeling better. And we're looking forward to seeing you, Oaklawn, on Arkansas Derby weekend.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate for the all the patience, and thank you for the interview, and thank you for all the support. Thank God, I've been doing well.
All right. Looking forward to seeing you soon, Javier. Be well, okay?